The battlefield collapsed long before anyone admitted it. That was the real horror. Victory never slipped away in one dramatic instant. It rotted slowly beneath the surface, while everyone kept fighting as though strength alone could still matter. Ultima understood that first. Across the broken front lines, she unleashed spell after spell, powerful enough to erase entire armies. Nuclear cannons screamed through the battlefield like judgment itself, yet every attack dissolved against Fen without leaving so much as a scar. He stood there laughing while destruction wrapped around him like harmless rain. How can you just stand there like it's nothing? That question carried more than anger. It carried fear. Ultima's instincts already sensed something deeply wrong. Even empowered by Samael, Lord of Deathly Poison, she could not touch him. The battlefield itself began feeling unnatural, as though the laws governing magic had quietly shifted while nobody noticed. Then the memory returned. Ghidorah's report, the strange irregularities, the unexplained failures, the subtle evidence everyone overlooked because the war moved too fast. And suddenly, the battlefield transformed inside Ultima's mind. This stopped resembling a contest of overwhelming force. It became a carefully designed execution chamber. Every spellcaster present marched directly into a counter designed specifically for them. That realization terrified her more than Fen's strength ever could, because traps only reveal themselves after the victim already steps inside. Elsewhere, Xion continued throwing herself against Daggrull with suicidal determination. Every clash looked absurd. Every attack looked meaningless. Daggrull treated her less like an enemy and more like an irritating animal refusing to die. You don't know when to give up, do you? The giant's contempt carried absolute certainty. He viewed the battle as finished already. Yet Xion kept standing. That mattered more than anyone realized, because Xion fought according to a completely different philosophy than everyone else on the battlefield. Logic never controlled her. Probability never restrained her. She trusted one thing alone: the certainty that her allies would never abandon her. Even after Daggrull's roar froze her body, even after his fist shattered the long wall alongside her defenses, even after death itself approached her repeatedly, she smiled. That smile disturbed Daggrull more than any attack ever could. Then the battlefield changed. A magic circle illuminated beneath Daggrull's feet. Dust scattered outward. Holy energy surged across the ruined land. And through the chaos came Luminus Valentine herself, wrapped in black elegance and cold fury. Who's kidding now? For one suspended moment, the battlefield inhaled hope again. Sanctuary disintegration erupted with overwhelming force. Holy power, vast enough to annihilate monsters, instantly swallowed Daggrull completely. Even true dragons respected the destructive authority behind that spell. Victory finally looked possible. Then Daggrull spoke. Was I being careless? But still, not a problem. I'm not hurt at all. Hope died immediately. That single sentence shattered morale harder than any physical attack, because now the truth stood undeniable. Magic itself held no authority here. Adalman discovered the same nightmare from another corner of the battlefield. He awoke surrounded by rubble and silence, his undead body barely intact after surviving Fen's assault. Venti's intervention spared him from annihilation, yet survival itself unsettled him. His barriers never failed. They were ignored. That distinction changed everything. As Adalman studied Fen through the dust, understanding finally crystallized into horrifying clarity. The higher-level giants have cancel magic. Suddenly, every impossible event connected perfectly. The useless spells, the untouched giants, the effortless destruction of powerful sorcery. The battlefield stopped feeling mysterious because the answer finally emerged. The giants possessed absolute magical negation, and against opponents like Ultima, that ability bordered on catastrophic. Yet the battlefield delivered something stranger next. Comedy, madness, or perhaps pure confidence. After far too long, Adalman declared, it looks time for my well-honed body to take center stage. Venti stared at the skeletal priest with complete disbelief. The battlefield burned around them, while Adalman calmly announced himself as a martial artist. The absurdity almost broke reality itself. What a foolish question, he answered when she challenged him. I fight with my fists. Then the impossible happened again. Assimilation through possession. Adalman merged with Venti instantly, claiming her draconic strength while preserving her consciousness. Even during transformation, he casually admitted concern regarding the separation process later, which terrified Venti far more than the battle itself. But when the transformation completed, the battlefield gained a new warrior entirely. Gone stood the skeleton priest. In his place appeared a dark-haired young man wearing black priestly robes, radiating confidence sharp enough to cut through despair itself. I'm not in the mood for just a tactical victory. Let's make this an overwhelming win for us. That line mattered because everyone else merely fought to survive. Adalman still aimed to dominate. Meanwhile, Ultima finally understood the complete structure of the trap. Fen revealed it openly. Our cancel magic is an absolute defense against all magic. It blocks the movement of spirit particles itself. Absolute defense. Those words crushed entire battle doctrines instantly. Demons like Ultima relied almost entirely on overwhelming magical supremacy. Against giants like Fen, their greatest strength became almost worthless. And then came the bitterest realization of all. Guy knew. Ultima understood that immediately. Rimuru's endless lectures about communication echoed mockingly inside her head, while the battlefield collapsed around them. Somebody possessed critical information long before the war began, yet nobody shared it fast enough. That failure nearly doomed everyone. Still, Ultima refused despair. Because buried inside Fen's invincibility, she discovered a flaw. Ghidorah's nihilistic magic functioned differently from ordinary spells. Rather than manipulating magicules, it summoned emptiness itself. A void designed to erase energy directly. That distinction created possibility. Time to die. Dark magic, nihilistic vanish. Darkness swallowed Fen completely. Even then, he endured, crushing the void apart through raw fighting spirit alone. Yet something changed. For the first time, Ultima sensed actual resistance. Tiny damage, microscopic progress. But progress nonetheless. Like water slowly carving through stone. And suddenly the battle evolved from impossible to brutally difficult. That mattered. Ultima understood hopeless combat better than most because Zhejian already forged her through endless suffering. Fen's attacks resembled giant hammers capable of erasing existence instantly. Yet Ultima remained calm because one-shot death simplified combat psychologically. Either you dodge or you vanish. Fear loses complexity after that. Then Adalman returned beside her, transformed entirely. Sorry to make you wait, Lady Ultima. Who are you? It is I, Adalman. Even surrounded by despair, the battlefield still found room for absurdity. Together, they formed the only viable strategy remaining. Ultima attacked from range while Adalman pressured Fen directly through physical combat. Precision replaced overwhelming power. Coordination replaced brute force. A big, muscle-bound, rampaging lummox isn't any match for us, right? That laughter mattered because it exposed something essential. The battlefield still failed to break them mentally. Luminus watched all of this unfold through the cold, analytical perspective of someone who governed life and death itself. Her holy magic failed. Alberto's swordsmanship slowly collapsed against Glassord's monstrous vitality. Ultima and Adalman balanced constantly between survival and annihilation. And then there was Xion. Again, and again, and again. Daggrull crushed her repeatedly, while she continued standing back up like reality itself refused accepting her defeat. There is no defeat in Sir Rimuru's book, and so I too will never be defeated. That statement sounded ridiculous, childish, completely irrational. Yet those words pierced Luminus deeper than logic ever could, because Xion embodied something ancient heroes carried naturally: refusal. Pure rejection of inevitable defeat. The kind of reckless conviction capable of infecting entire battlefields. Luminus remembered another reckless soul long ago, a hero who refused retreat because retreat itself violated their existence. And for the first time in centuries, Luminus hesitated between wisdom and pride. A rational ruler would flee. A survivor would abandon this battlefield immediately. Yet watching Xion continue rising filled Luminus with disgust toward the very concept of cowardice. I refuse to accept such an ungainly way of life. I am the proud queen of nightmares. That moment changed her completely. Even Gunther recognized it. When he vowed, "When we fall together," Luminus finally stopped standing alone. But the battlefield still held one final cruelty. Daggrull revealed he merely entertained them the entire time. "Oh, am I blocking you? I could have done this at the start." That sentence destroyed whatever illusions remained. The giant never struggled, never feared, never respected them as genuine threats. He simply indulged the battle out of lingering sentiment connected to Twilight Valentine. Then he targeted Xian seriously. One strike ruptured her internally. Even she realized recovery magic would lose meaning against damage like this. Still, she staggered upright somehow. Don't be ridiculous. This much won't defeat me. For the first time, Daggrull looked impressed. Then he erased her again. This woman will die, and it's all thanks to your worthlessness. Another strike followed. This time, Xian stayed down. Silence consumed the battlefield. Luminus stepped forward alone at last. Very well, Daggrull. It's a duel between you and me. She understood victory held zero possibility. Yet somewhere during this nightmare, Xian's reckless faith infected her completely. Luminus finally understood Rimuru's burden, the suffocating pressure of carrying everyone's hopes even while knowing collapse waits ahead. Then reality itself froze. Time stopped. Absolute despair descended instantly because Luminus finally realized the complete truth. They never possessed even the slightest chance. Daggrull approached her frozen body slowly, his fist carrying inevitable death through suspended eternity itself. And then, laughter. Violent, thunderous, chaotic. It is I! A brown hand caught Daggrull's strike midair. Hope arrived wearing the face of absolute disaster itself, the evil dragon, the walking catastrophe, the monster Luminus despised almost as much as she unconsciously needed him. Veldora had entered the battlefield, and suddenly, the war changed again. So here's the real question hiding beneath all this destruction. What actually breaks an impossible battlefield first? Power? Strategy? Magic? Or belief itself?